Hi, I'm Basler. I'm in Houston, Texas. Now, this video is publicly available to anyone who wishes to see it, but this is particularly for the homeowner who called me out to take a look at the tree. And she's not here right now, so I'm going to shoot this little video. Those of you who are subscribers to my YouTube channel, much of this is ground that's been covered in previous videos. You know, risk assessment, structural defects on a tree. Okay, so this is the tree I'm assuming I was called out to look at. Tree is not looking well. This post oak, nice post oak, has a pretty big, conspicuous dead branch. It's a pretty good sized one. It's about 7 inches in diameter at its point of attachment. And it has some defects at its base. It's growing in this little island right in front of the front door of the house. I believe this ground cover is called Ardesia. What little I know about it is I think it likes shade, and I've seen it pretty crispy in the sun. I am assuming that there is a sprinkler head inside here somewhere, but even if there isn't, there's one here and another one here. And my question for you, dear homeowner, is do any of these sprinkler heads actually hit the trunk of the tree? If so, let's have those redirected so that they go out towards the lawn and not into this island. That way this island isn't getting this obscene, 3 times a week water that the lawn likes. Post oaks are very sensitive trees. They don't like disturbances, but they will tolerate them. And this particular home is in an older subdivision. These are probably 40-plus-year-old homes, at least 35, probably 40-year-old homes. And so let me point out some of these defects. When we allow this Ardesia to grow up against the trunk, burying this, what's called the root flare or root collar, the part of the trunk that flares out at the base like a bell. Then we trap in moisture, and we have an anaerobic condition present on the part of the tree that is designed to be exposed to the air at all times. Oh cool, here's a slug. So there's quite a significant amount of decay here, hidden farther in here. I'm going to use my mallet. I've used my little cultivator to pull this away, and that helps us better see the extent of the decay on this tree. And this is my rubber mallet. Now, I've done this before on a YouTube video, and it wasn't a very dramatic difference in the sound, but this is sound wood. And that is indicative of a hollow behind this decayed wood here. And you hear how it's echoing off of the neighbors' houses and bouncing back. It's quite loud. That resonance is indicative of a hollow. To what extent is it hollow is really the question we want to ask. So quite often I'm asked about a tree like this, is my tree gonna live? This is not really the right question to ask, because tree health and tree structure, as I frequently state and have stated in other videos, are unrelated. And so, in fact, if you have a healthy tree, and I would say, if we're ignoring the defects here, I would say this tree is a 70 or 80 on a scale of 100, judging from its leaf population. So it's not where it needs to be from a leaf population perspective, but it's not what I would say in decline. It's probably got some Phytophthora root rot. It's got a little bit of tip dieback, which indicates some root loss. And given the extensive irrigation, which is a mortal enemy of post oaks, it surprises me not at all to think that this tree probably has Phytophthora root rot. So a healthy tree has more weight upstairs, more wind resistance upstairs, and it also has more water weight. And so actually, if it's healthy and structurally defective, that can actually increase the risk of failure or storm damage. The question is, to what extent is this tree decayed? We have a saying in arboriculture, there is no such thing as a safe tree. So the question is more about risk management than making it safe. And so my recommendations are going to be geared towards that. We could get more detailed. We could use sonic tomography or a resistograph, and we could drill some holes or do some diagrams and spit out some data, readouts, to try to determine what percentage of this trunk is decayed. And that's around $500 to have that done, and we can do that. That's an option if you're interested. But what we're really looking at here, where'd I put my mallet? What we're looking at here is decay here in these crevices, and there's decay in here, but we want to know to what, and it's likely that this decay, there's even more here following this fissure. And, probably 15 years worth of callus growth, so this is not new. This is definitely not new. Irrigation, sprinkler heads should never hit the trunk of a tree, especially in humid Houston, which is wood rotting capital of the world, it seems, sometimes. But up here it's pretty sound. So I guess the real question we need to ask is, to what extent does this defect represent an imminent risk of failure? And I think that this is probably manageable. So I'll provide you a quote to conduct a more thorough risk assessment. There's some defects over here. Oh boy, this is some serious decay right here. This is very spongy wood. Look at that. Just very little effort on my part. So let me grab my cultivator here, my claw, and pull the Ardesia away and see what we're looking at. More decay right here. This is quite extensive here on this backside, and this is just downright spongy. I hope nothing bites me. This has been gouged out and occupied. Maybe not. Maybe it's just that soft. This is callus wood. You see how the bark it's mature, but it's not as old and rough as this. So this is much younger, but this is maybe 25 years worth of callus wood. Is that white rot there? So we just need to do a more thorough analysis to this tree. So I'll provide you a quote to do that. I think this might be manageable. I can provide you separate quotes if you decide. You are the homeowner. This is your tree, and you're the one who has to sleep under it. Consequently, I'll provide you a quote to remove it if you choose to do so. But I think this is probably manageable. We could prune for weight reduction, get some of the weight out of the tree. Of course, it also needs to be fertilized. I don't want you to think that if you've had your lawn fertilized with like a quarterly maintenance where they do that spreader and they spread out that fertilizer, none of that goes to your tree. So I advise fertilizing using a soil injection method. I've taken a soil sample here. It's pretty typical of a decades old yard, where instead of on a younger property There's like 1 to 2 inches of topsoil, and then a stark contrast direct to subsoil, high clay, backfill. It's like just a clear line of delineation. Whereas on older soils, there's been more time for the organic content to percolate, to work its way in, and so it goes from high organic content, darker, to blonde, and it's not as clay. It's more sandy, which is good. They love sandy soil, post oaks do. So I'll send this off to the lab for analysis. Those of you who have chosen to watch this, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section of the YouTube video, or email me at info@wideworldoftrees.com. I also have a voicemail hotline. Can't look it up right now. I don't have it memorized. Thank you for tuning in.